What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to what I didn't expect about the UK. Based off the thumbnail, I think this person is originally from the US, but the title says living in the UK. So I thought she would have a really interesting perspective about life in the UK. And I'm curious about what she discovered about the UK that she didn't expect to find when she first moved out there. Before we get started, guys, I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm actually visiting family this week. I'm super excited because I haven't seen my mom or my sisters in over a year now. I think it was May of last year, the last time I saw them. We live over 15 hours away from my hometown, and as you can imagine, that is not the easiest trip to make with a toddler. Now that my daughter's getting a little bit older, hopefully she'll handle the trip a little bit better. I guess we'll see how it goes this time. And if she does well, we'll probably start visiting a little bit more often, maybe every 4 to 6 months. But anyways, guys, I bring this up because normally I upload new videos every single day. Sometimes I skip a day here or there if something else happens and I don't have the time to make a video, but generally it's every day. And so I knew if all of a sudden I didn't upload videos for 3, 4, 5 days, maybe even a whole week, a lot of people would start wondering what happened. Is something wrong? So I just want to let you guys know that I'm just visiting family this week. As you're seeing this video, I'm already gone visit my family. Should be, I think, June 4th or 5th, I believe is when I'll upload a new video. But in the meantime, guys, I have over 240 videos on this channel and a huge assortment of topics, all having to do with either the UK or Ireland. Generally speaking, I think there might be one or two that are about, just straight America something. But generally speaking, the whole channel is about UK or Ireland, as most of you know that already. But I just wanted to say, this week would probably be a good time if you're interested to check out some of my older content. When I first started this channel, I had no idea anything about the UK or Ireland. I knew nothing. I look back at some of my old videos and it's amazing how some of the stuff I just had no clue about. I've come a long way in the amount of knowledge I have about the UK and Ireland. Obviously I have a long way to go. There's so much to learn, but I'm really happy with the trajectory my knowledge has gained on this journey. But, I was just saying, since I'm not uploading new content this week, it'd be a good time if you're interested to check out some of my older content because I got a large amount of different topics, all having to do with the UK and Ireland. So anyways, guys, enough rambling from me. But yes, also, if you want to be sure to catch that next video that I upload, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. All right, guys, enough rambling from me. Let's go ahead and get started and check out what I didn't expect about the UK.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. I'm a dual American and UK citizen. If you're not new here, welcome back. Glad to have you. Make sure you hit subscribe if you want more UK versus American content. Today, I'm talking about the most unexpected things about the UK that I didn't know before I moved here. Unexpected thing number one is that transportation is really, really good here. And when I mean transportation, I mean public transportation. So even in very rural areas, it's not uncommon to have a pretty reliable bus system. Yes, it's not necessarily going to be as good in a remote area as having your own car, but I'm used to coming from a place where there's really nothing in terms of public transportation. Florida is a very, very, very car heavy destination. We do have some buses, but they're relatively unreliable and most people don't take them. I was really shocked by being able to get a lot of places on buses in the UK. I knew the train system was pretty good and well connected, which it is, but you can definitely take buses and reliable buses so many more places in the UK than you can in many parts of America, even including more rural destinations.
Really?
So that was definitely an unexpected but positive thing that I learned about the UK when I first moved here.
I second what she said. I've lived in Florida before, but I've lived in a number of different states, and if you're in rural areas, good luck. Without a car, you're going to get nowhere. There are no buses in any of the states I've lived in. In any rural areas, I've seen no buses. Even if you go to larger towns and even decent sized cities, sometimes you won't have access to buses. I've experienced that quite a bit. Trains either. You just don't have public transportation in the U.S. in a lot of areas. You just don't. Most of the areas I've ever lived in didn't have any public transportation at all. And I've lived in an assortment of different places. But that's interesting how she brings up the fact that in the UK, you can even be in rural areas and have access to decent public transportation sometimes, because that's something that I've never seen in the US. So let me know in the comments if you live in a rural area somewhere in the UK. Do you really have access to good bus service? Because that would be something that'd be pretty cool, man. A lot of people would really appreciate that service.
So the next unexpected thing was a mail slot. So in America, for the vast majority of homes, particularly suburban homes, we have a mailbox that is outside your home, close to the street, and the mailman drives by. Very American.
Generally speaking, sorry to pause, I just want to say, generally speaking, this is something you would see in a more rural area, usually not just rural areas. If you're in a kind of a smaller area, kind of suburban, you might also have these types of mailboxes. A lot of neighborhoods have these types of mailboxes, but if you're in town, kind of downtown and whatnot, a lot of times you'll have like a box that's on the wall outside of your door, and it doesn't look exactly like this, but that's generally, you have one of those two types of mailboxes. You'll have this, or you'll have the box on your door or on the side of your door.
So in the UK, even in suburban areas, it is not common to have any sort of, I don't think I've ever seen an American style mailbox. I'm not saying they don't exist, but for the most part, you have a mail slot. And I feel like this is the wrong term for it. And somebody...
No free newspaper jump? No.
To me, it's a mail slot.
Looked it up, Northern Tennessee mail slot. It's a letterbox in the UK. No, but the American version...
It's a slot in your door that the mail goes through. So the postman or postwoman or post person will come up to your door, slide the mail through, and it ends up in your home.
That's interesting, man.
I mean, there's so much to think about when you first moved to the UK. I think how I would get my mail wasn't really at the top of my list.
No, it wouldn't be for me either.
And so it's a pretty cool feature of mail here, because you don't have to actually like leave your house to get the mail to go anywhere or to walk to the end of your driveway. If you live, again, in a more suburban area, this doesn't apply to necessarily like apartments or flats. But yeah, in our house, the mail just gets slid through the door, magically appears like inside my home. Don't have to put on any like real clothes to walk outside and get the mail. And that was an unexpected part of life in the UK.
I've never seen that before. Like I said, all I've ever known are those two types of boxes outside. I can understand, I don't want to go back to it, but let me look at it. Like, I can understand how this could be convenient. I mean, your mail is sitting there. I mean, do you have a box? No, it'd be in your door. So I guess it just hits the floor or something. That's wild. I mean, I can see the convenience factor of that. And I guess your mail is a little bit safer because you're going to, no one can actually go and get it. It's not really something I'm too concerned with. I don't really get a lot of paper mail anymore, but we still get, some things through the mail, obviously. You have to, unfortunately. But I get as much as I can, I get digitally, so. But the one thing that I think about here that I could see as being a drawback to this, do you call it a mail slot? It's the fact of, I mean, anybody could basically come up to your door, open this slot, and put something in your house, right? I mean, I don't know what someone would do, and, as long as, I mean, it's just someone, if they wanted to do something, like, I don't know what they put in there. I don't know how large the slot is. Maybe it's not very big at all, but if it's large enough to put, something, I don't know, poisonous or something in there. I can see that could be an issue. It probably isn't for most people. I'm just saying that that's the only negative I can see for it. For the most part, I think that would actually be a positive thing. And I'm surprised we don't have those in America, or maybe we do, and I've just never seen them. Maybe they're in cities or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so another unexpected thing was that you have to turn on an outlet. So it has an
I heard about that.
on switch
in
the UK.
I watched an outlet video.
And
Forgot about it.
You have to make sure that it is on in order to charge things. So I did not expect this because I had never plugged anything in the UK before moving here. And genuinely, I am now a British citizen. I'm now a full British citizen.
Wonder how long that takes.
After being here for 10 plus years.
Oh, wow.
I forgot to turn on the actual switch to the outlet and thought I was charging something. Turns out I wasn't. It still happens to me to this day because in the States our outlets are just always on. So you plug something in, it's charging. You take the plug out, it's no longer charging, but there's no actual switch that you need to turn on for that electric current to flow through. So turning on your electrical outlets before you use them was definitely an unexpected thing that I had to learn when living in the UK and still apparently have to learn. The next
that is something I had found before on a separate video. Very interesting. Definitely would be convenient for like power saving. Safety as well, if you're leaving for a period of time, like we're about to, we're going to have to go around and unplug everything. You could just go and turn the switch off. That'd be very convenient. But I just wanted to say, she brought up something I've been interested in checking out, but I just haven't got around to it. I want to know how long it takes to actually become a British citizen. So if someone comes over there, what's the process? And how long does it take? If anybody has any good videos that show me that process, please feel free to share them in the comments. I'd love to check that out. But she says she's been over in the UK for over 10 years. I mean, I was thinking that, I don't know how old she is, but that tells me she's had to actually spend the majority of her adult life, I'm guessing, because, you take... Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that if she's been over there 10 years, she lived over 10 years of her adult life in the U.S. as well. So, man, this channel, all I'm saying is she probably knows what she's talking about in a lot of cases because she's been over there for so long.
Unexpected part about life in the UK was something called a washing up bowl, or what I used to call a washing up bucket because it looks more like a bucket to me than a bowl.
Oh, I saw this type of sink on the video I did. What was it? It was the video about the house that I watched that was for sale. I love this sink, except that one was silver and this one looks like porcelain or something. Someone said it was a 1.5 or 1.25 sink. I had never seen this before, but I know it's just a really cool design.
But essentially, it is something that many UK households will use. And I've had the occasional American tell me their family did this, but it is much less common in the US. And so what it is it's a bowl that you put in your sink, and you essentially use this now as your sink for washing things up. So you would put the water and the soap and the dishes in this bowl within your sink to do your dishes. Again, this was very foreign to me when I first moved here. I don't like a washing up bowl. I've started this discussion and this battle between those of us who do and don't before. I hate them. I know there are reasons that you have for them. I have never used one, but I didn't even know what it was when I first moved here. I was like, why do you have a sink within a sink? Why is there a bowl to wash up your bowls in your sink? So it was an unexpected part of life here, and something that I decided not to use, but really had never thought about or heard of before that.
What is the reason behind a washing up bowl? Like she said, it's kind of like a sink within a sink. I guess I could see if you filled the washing up bowl with soapy water, and then you pulled it out of the sink and washed the dishes on the counter in the bowl and then rinsed in the sink. I could imagine that being that would make a lot of sense to me. But otherwise, it's like you've already got the sink. So what do you need the bowl for? Let me know in the comments what exactly the reasons are for having a washing up bowl.
The unexpected thing about life in the UK is how fast Amazon delivery is here. I'm not talking about your standard delivery companies that often just like deliver a box to your garbage can and then it gets taken out. I'm talking specifically if you order something on Amazon, it gets to your house so much faster than in the US. I'm used to ordering things in the US on Amazon and waiting just like days on end. I don't know if it's because the UK is smaller, so it's easier to get around, so stuff comes faster. But Amazon UK, when I first moved here, I was like ordering something and it would get there the next day. Blew my mind without even having Prime. Still to this day, I find that Amazon
That's interesting.
UK delivery is relatively fast and quicker than I've experienced in the US. The next
That's interesting. I mean, we get really fast delivery. Some things are 1 day, 2 days. I have Prime though, so it makes sense that you could, get it within 2 days. I think it's 2 day delivery is what they offer. Some days you'll get it quicker, but that's very interesting. Even without Prime, you get it in like a day. Maybe it is something to do with the fact of maybe she lives in London and maybe there's an Amazon headquarters nearby or something. I don't know. That's interesting. How's your experience with Amazon if you have Amazon?
unexpected thing about life in the UK when I first moved here was the different vacation destinations that people would go to. Now, this makes sense in hindsight, but because of the location of the UK and just because of certain things like holiday time and things like that, there are some countries like Thailand and Australia that it's much more common to come across someone in the UK who has been to those places. Other ones would be like the Canary Islands are.
That reminds me, when I was in Malaysia, I'm sitting there and recently got there and I was at a bar and the first people I met were actually a couple from Scotland. And I just thought it was interesting. It was the first people I've ever met from Scotland, and I happened to come across them in Malaysia. Now, granted, Malaysia's not Thailand, but yeah, Malaysia's kind of, south of Thailand. So I don't know. That just made me think of that.
Huge in terms of UK visitors, particularly when they want the sun. In the US, coming across somebody who has been to Thailand or knows somebody who's been to Thailand is very, very uncommon. We
love Thailand.
As a culture and as a country in a certain location have our own vacation destinations and own favorite international places to go to. And I know that this also varies country by country.
Right.
Every country has this, but it's just something that I didn't think about when moving to the UK. And so I've kind of learned over time the places that Brits tend to go to on vacation, and they don't often line up with places that my American friends and family, even when traveling internationally, would have gone to. One of the reasons is a lot of times Americans travel internationally, they come to the UK. Many of you watching this will be in that position. So being in a country where now I get to talk to people about their vacations, again, in Tenerife, in Thailand, in Australia, in New Zealand, or maybe their US vacation as opposed to my US friends and family who would dream of taking trips to places like France and places like the UK, but many wouldn't have gone to places like the Canary Islands, Thailand, etc.
That makes me think of something. A lot of people wonder why a lot of U.S. citizens don't travel internationally very much. A lot of U.S. citizens, compared to a lot of other countries in Europe, a lot of U.S. citizens don't actually have passports. I do. I've traveled internationally, spent quite a bit of time in Asia. Never been to Europe except, had a quick layover in an airport or whatever, but never actually been out in Europe. Been to the Middle East, been to Asia, but just never been to Europe. But anyways, I think a lot of that is because in the US, people generally don't get as much vacation time as a lot of places in Europe. And for example, if you're in the UK, you can quickly get to so many different countries, especially within Europe. And Just thinking of France and the Netherlands, and you got Sweden not too far away, and a lot of areas. Even Africa isn't at too far away compared to where it would be for people in the U.S. And so, since we don't get as much vacation time in the U.S. to not only are the plane tickets probably much more expensive because we had to fly over these oceans to get over to Europe, for example, but it also takes a lot longer just for the flights there and back, and not having that extra vacation time makes it hard, very, very hard to do. And so a lot of people just don't get passports because of that reason. And then there's also the thing that, usually if you want to travel, you're probably traveling somewhere that has a different climate or something from what you have. So if you're in a cool climate, you want to travel somewhere tropical. If you're somewhere kind of more tropical, you want to travel like to the mountains or snowy places. And in the US, since a lot of people don't have enough time or the money to travel internationally, they'll just let's say they're living in the middle of Colorado, they'll take a flight down to, the Florida Keys or to Southern California or something to have more of a tropical experience, and vice versa. And so I think that's pretty much why a lot of people in the U.S. generally don't have passports as often as a lot of people in Europe do.
Last unexpected thing that I had to learn about life in the UK was the idea that often houses have names and not numbers. So this is going to be much
Your houses have names?
more common if you're in a more rural area. It doesn't necessarily apply. Like my neighborhood and my estate, we have numbers. We don't have house names. But so sometimes like the actual address that you write on the envelope, I can't even think of an example name, but it would be something like, I don't know, like Blue Cottage. Just, that's an example. And that's the actual name. It's like Blue Cottage, blah, blah, blah city, United Kingdom. I don't know if they have actual numbers associated them for any sort of reason. I don't know how the post people, I guess, like who are new to the route would have to, I guess, just read every name. But if you see a lot of homes in the UK, in areas like the Cotswolds, again, or more kind of rural country-ish areas, or fancier, nicer houses, you're usually going to see, instead of a number near the front door, you're going to see the actual like name of the house.
That's wild, man.
I had ever come across or I'd ever heard about.
I've never seen
Florida, even very fancy houses, they wouldn't be named. They would still have numbers, a numbered address. So this was something definitely that I had to get used to, and is a really fascinating part of life in the UK. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's video. Again, if you are moving to the UK, I have some resources for you linked below. Check those out. As with moving to any country, there's always going to be these little things that you won't expect, and I hope by watching my channel you will expect a lot more than I did back in 2012, and maybe have done some more research on those smaller, very UK specific things. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.
I thought this was a really good video. I don't think did I know any of the, no, I knew the electrical outlets, but I didn't know the rest of them. Well, I knew you guys had good transportation, public transportation, but I didn't really think that was something that would be, much in the rural areas. But she made it sound like you could go out in the middle of the country and you could get a bus. Let me know in the comments if that is actually accurate. If you're in a rural area, do you still have access to public transportation? Because that is something that generally I've never seen in the U.S. But this last one, house numbers, that's funny, man. I've never seen that either. Like, so like the example where she put some examples on the screen here. Christmas Cottage. This is literally an address. So like, I don't know. Let's say this was Manchester, right? So the address would literally be, or let's say Owl Corner, Manchester, UK, and then a zip code. Is that literally what it is? There's no numbers involved in that's wild. I can imagine this would be very hard for a postal worker. I don't know. What do you call them? We call them mailmen. And considering there are mail women, I don't know. I mean, I guess you call them mail women. I don't know. But Do you call them postal workers? But anyways, this would be very hard, like she said, for someone on a new route to kind of know where Christmas Cottage is. Or maybe you also have, maybe it's like this, Christmas Cottage on Jacob Street in Manchester, UK. I bet that's what it is. I bet there's still the street itself, not just Christmas Cottage, man. Anyways, let me know in the comments, how's that work? And do you have one of these types of addresses? That's just really interesting. And I'm really curious, who gives the name of the place? Do the people that own the place name it, or does the town name it? How does that work? But you know, we kind of talked about the best vacation destinations a little bit, and yeah, the electrical outlets and the mail slot, man, that's another one. I never seen that before, but I can see the convenience factor, but I also can see it possibly if you have, I don't know, if you have someone who's really upset with you, you know, an ex or something like that, they want to stick something in your house that's not good, pour something onto your carpet or whatever, that could possibly be an issue. Or yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I'm just saying that I could see it possibly be an issue. It's probably very rarely an issue, I'm guessing, but I'm just saying, you know, most of it I think would be convenient, but I say in some circumstances, I can see that actually being a little bit of a negative. Let me know, guys. Does anybody watching this in the UK, any of you have like the types of boxes like, kind of like these, or like a box on the side of your house? Or do you all have these slots? But yeah, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.